Okay guys, here we are again. We're back and we've set up our basic outline. Here we're going to be, this will actually be reversed here because we want this to be coming out this way so we can attach our drain hose in here. And we'll basically shut off this valve, turn on this valve, and it will just pump right straight out. You can put some quick disconnects in here, but with this system this size, the biggest piece you got is this one right here, and when you pull it out of one, you can just pull it out of the other. What you want to do is kind of, when you're designing this, have everything kind of set up the way you want it in your room, and then go ahead and go ahead and taper your pieces in to what you need. Just cut them to fit. You'll want to taper the ends of them, like I said there. I found one of the best ways to work with this PVC on these sharp edges is a grinder wheel that has the wire brush on it. The little wire brush does a really nice job of rounding the corners. You don't want to be cutting. You don't want to cut into your uni seals and those sharp edges on your PVC are going to do that. You will definitely damage your uni seals with these sharp square edges. They're almost sharp enough to cut you. So you can see the basic outline here. We're going to just connect into here. We got some short ones to go across between the tanks. Very simple. If you were going to add the couplings, which I have some, so you can see, but these little buggers are very pricey. They're about $15 or so a pop, depending on what size you get into. This is why you're going to want to consider using the 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2 in comparison to like the 2 inch, because the price on these things goes up exponentially. They work great, and they do make it easy to let's say if you wanted to pull a unit out. The trouble is, if you're using this to pull the unit out, your liquids are going to run out unless you put in an even more expensive shut off valve, which you can do, okay, but you'll find that it's pretty difficult to fit 2 of these in one spot this size, 4x8. Now, a lot of you guys are going to just want to run 2 tubs in your 4x8, but here in Colorado we can run 3 per person. I'm setting this system up for 2 plants per bucket, and that way I'm not going to increase the yield overall. It could maybe just a little, but it's, you know, it's a pretty set done deal. In our season, once we get to rolling here and everything, we're going to be running some very interesting comparisons, and this is where I might differ a little bit from some of the previous things. I'd like to give a big thanks to Hydro Hybrid. He altered my perception of large containers. You know, I was one of those guys that used buckets a lot, and you know, you get a good yield, but nothing like we're going to see coming out of these. We're going to be running some combinations here of LEDs, HIDs, and with any luck, I'm working with developers in China on some new induction technology. We've just purchased the latest model from the builders of Black Dog, but not a Black Dog. If you guys got some serious capital, you know, Black Dog's a good light, but I just bought a better light for way less money. Seriously less money, like 1/6 of the Black Dog, and I bought it direct from China, from the guys who build Black Dog. And so they build quite a few of the really top end lights, and so this is their newest kit on the market. It's an adjustable LED. We were toying with the idea of computer controlled ones, and we still are. We're moving from the idea that they were using before, and there's another builder that's using them, is a 3-phase light that actually controls like a sunrise, daytime, sunset, cloudy, settings for cloning, settings for regular growing, settings for vegetation, and settings for flowering. And they are currently using a 3-phase controller, and some of you may have seen some of these on YouTube. All these guys are using the same stuff in China. There's one builder that builds something and everybody puts it into their thing. And so after seeing Indigro's stuff and iGrow's and looking at the prices of these high-end induction lamps, which by the way are supposed to produce about 1.75 grams per watt, giving a 400 watt light or somewhere around the neighborhood of pretty close to 700 plus grams, and they also have 500s, and they're working with 600s now. I do not recommend those yet until they have stabilized that technology a little bit more. 400s are the highest stable lights right now. They are getting really good with the 500s, but you're talking about increasing power when they actually build these fixtures that will have 2 or even 3 of the 300s and 400 watt lamps in them. We're just going to go for our comparison. We are going to do a single bulb unit, but we are adding in LED technology to mimic the sunset. The lights will run 660 nanometers during the daytime while the lights are functioning. There is a battery unit attached to the fixture that will be charging during that period of time, and when the light shuts off, it will kick on 730 nanometer LEDs, which will gradually fade for about 15 minutes, putting the plant to sleep. Literally, this technology is supposed to shave off approximately 2 hours of the wasted time that it takes for a plant to fall asleep. And so what this in effect has doubled, and I've seen the photos presented by some of the builders of these lights, it looks like it may increase yield by 50 to 100%. And so instead of the 1.75 grams that they're bragging about now, we may see somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5, maybe even as close, maybe 3 grams. That would be really awesome if that happened. I really don't expect to see over 2, maybe 2.5 by the addition of about either 40 or 60 watt LED bars. They do make those bars in, I believe, either 20s or 30s, and they make a 40 and then they make a 60 watt. And the idea of those is a 200 watt induction lamp, a 300 watt induction lamp, and a 4, 5, and 600 watt induction lamps would obviously maybe what they're patterning the 60 watt units for. And so we're going to go ahead and assemble this thing. I need to cut some holes. We did a test pilot hole with our drill to make sure that we had the right bit in there. And so I will do a little bit of measuring here. We will place these in. We're going to go 1.5 inch into all the units except for the center part of this unit here, in which we will install a 1 inch, and then we will put about a I think it's a 365 gallon per minute or per hour or something like that. I'll have to look at 365 GPH. Yep, 365 gallons an hour unit in the small pumping station. Basically this is just going to pump. This little tub here was about $6. These units here with lids were about 12. And this one, I think I picked this one up at Sam's Club, and it was a little pricey. It was about $20. And so, or was that Home Depot? Possibly Home Depot. I can't remember. Anyway, like I said earlier, you know, those of you that have military in your history, you know, you need to get your cards. Go join your local Veterans Administration, get your ID card, and Lowe's, Home Depot, and a lot of other people who sell things will give you a nice discount, 10%, sometimes even higher. So I'm going to put this thing back on the stand. We're going to go ahead and do some drilling, and hopefully this video will turn out where you guys can see all this stuff going together. I have not yet buffed all the ends of some of these. I had to do a few new cuts because I had a couple pieces that didn't seem to fit quite right. Every time you take a kit down and put it back together, I really recommend maybe taking advantage of a nice little Sharpie marker, numbering all your parts and putting them together. So that way if you take them apart, you can put them back together again. So I'm going to get started on this really quick here. I'll try to measure. I think my drill's going dead, so I'm going to run in and get a different drill. I like this little one better, but that's okay. You do what you got to do. Didn't realize I'd already marked these. As I suspected, dead battery. Okay. You want to try to cut your holes. Take your time, you know. Don't get in a big rush over this stuff. You want to be able to get those in there. Getting old, guys. Gotta have my glasses here handy. Sorry for the disguise, but even though it's legal here in Colorado, you know, we still got problems with it anymore. I say you want to take your time on this. And keep her slow. You don't want to be melting this plastic any more than you have to. It will change the size of your hole. You want to stay pretty consistent with that. One of the things you want to take into consideration when measuring these holes is you're going to be running a scrog net, and if you're going to be using PVC tubing to make a nice little cube to set underneath the shed down there, you're going to want it to fit underneath your PVC. It won't work right if it's sitting on top, right? So we want to get it the height adjusted just so that when we have our unit sitting in there, there's enough room between the floor and the PVC to slide that unit, okay? And you want to go ahead and put your bases in and have those ready to go. As soon as you start setting up your room, you put down your scrog net base, and then you won't have a problem later when it comes to putting this stuff all together. Now it's a really good idea to clean these holes with I use an X-Acto knife to clean these things because they're rough and they will affect the way your seal is. But be careful, you don't want to make this hole any larger, so you just want to do the trimming on the part of the surface here that's protruding. But you can see this here's the one that I did already. The hole's nice and clean. I just used an X-Acto knife to cut it. Cleaned up real nice, and I just took the stuff, I just took my knife and just slid it around the edge like this and just cleaned these. As you can see there, if you look in here real close, you can see on the inside. Be very careful because you do not want to enlarge your hole at all. And so with that being said, that's how that goes.